Alright, this is part 2 of tablet 4 out of the holy tablets. The first video cut off, but I'm gonna start off here. It says, alright, the largest Saturn's known satellite is Titan. The diameter of Titan includes its atmosphere is 3,400 miles. This satellite in your solar system has a thick atmosphere and is about 2.5 times as dense as that of the Earth. Titan's atmosphere is mostly nitrogen with a small amounts of methane and other hydrogen compounds. They, Humbaba, and his followers were Mammalia, any of the various warm-blooded reptile animals of the class of mammals, from late Latin mammalis, of the breast, from Latin mamma, meaning breast. This mixture breed human-looking snakes called serpents. This is where you get your serpent man from in the Garden of Eden. People who speak with a whisper. Because of the damage that Tarnish had done to the planet Rescue, the Rescuians started expedition looking for gold. Marduk and a group of the Anunnaki were chosen to seek this gold, which they knew could be found in abundance on the planet Tiamat, which is Earth today, or planet Kai, meaning maiden of life. They made many trips in a mother craft called Nibiru, which means planet of the crossing, or that which crosses the skies. So remember I said Nibiru is the return to Nibiru, planet 9. The geomagnetic pull causes poles to shift, the increase in the solar activity in the sun, and how it affects Earth. But this is where the judgment part of the elements comes into play, which something that man can do nothing about. That's why it's set up that way. So it don't matter how much technology they got, it's gonna cause blackouts. It's gonna be like a EMP, electromagnetic pulse. It's gonna be knocking grids out. So in the middle of why, that's why in Matthew 24 it says it's gonna be rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, famines, earthquake, pestilence, because it's literally in the process of these wars, and by they doing all this act, these things are going to be transpiring. It's going to cause great confusion. And guess what? Bombs are wet. Things is going to happen left to right nonstop. They're going to try to initiate martial laws, but they don't realize without chaos, there is no salvation. So this is when the poles going to shift, and these people are going to be terrified, because the same society that they set up to oppress people, keep people down, strongholds on, it's about to backfire. So it already is. You know, that's how the Most High works. Here a little, there a little, you know. I'm actually happy about it, because I know how it's going to play out. You know, these people, they want to act naive to the fact. Most of the top people in high and wicked places, they're fully aware of it, but, you know, they're trying to stretch their time out right now because the time is up, the clock is ticking, you know. Most people already done signed the Indigenous Rights Act, because we're the rightful owners of this place that we live in. You know, that's why you see the Moors that had that paperwork, they get pulled over by the police. Police can't do nothing to them, you know. They have no dominion. That's why you always see that Star of David, that inverted triangle, as above, so below. Moors just means black. It means black people. Look at all the Moorish temples all around America, you know. Some people call themselves Black Hebrew Israelites. Some people call themselves Moors. Some people call themselves indigenous Indians. But it doesn't really matter, because the Nuwapians, it tells you how these bloodlines work. And they all one and the same people. So, don't get it confused. Alright, so Marduk found minerals on Tiamat, and he set up a base on La Mu, meaning deity of war, today called Mars. He also went on the dark side of the Sheshqai, where people had already lived under the rule of Luna, or Lunar. That's where you get lunar eclipses and all this stuff. These names all mean something. Who originally came from Gaga, Pluto. Pluto We know Pluto just returned in February of 2022, you know, when they try to undermine it as just a little dwarf planet. But Pluto has very significant. Pluto, also known as Hades. In the book of Revelation, it tells you about Hades. You know, this place, it means the rebirth, and it also means death and destruction. So it basically meaning salvation and chaos. So there'll be chaos on Earth, but it's also creating the salvation for another people. That's why these planetary alignments are so key. The planet Gaga, Pluto, at the time was a emissary of Anshar, Saturn, before it was thrown into its own wobbling orbit when one of the satellites of Nibiru crashed into the planet Tiamat, now called Earth. Those were some of the planets that were on Nibiru's regular route. The planet Tiamat, which is Earth, was a regular stop off as well, along with the planet Mars, which to the Romans is known as the father of Romulus and Remus. He was the consort of Rhea, Silvia, god of war, originally called Mars. Silvanus, god of desolate places. So these names of the Roman gods, they got them from planetary alignments, and it all links back to the original story, which this came from the cuneiform tablets, original text, where most of the holy books came from. Silvanus was symbolized as a half man and half goat. That's where you get your Baphomet at. The father of war, symbolic of the ancient Egypt deity Ra, the symbol of the ram deity of the sun, fertility of life and growth, which is pronounced as Re, as in rays of the sun. Ra. Yeah, Amen Ra. That's why Christians say Amen. Muslims say Amen. Amen. I used to think this was bad. I even did a video on it long ago before I was a little less educated, but I thought I was on to something, and I had to reevaluate it and correct myself, because all is one and one is all. Sources in everything, so everything is a part of the puzzle. So a whole culture, religion, just because you don't understand it, you cannot speak bad things and blasphemy against it, because it all goes in the cycle of what source created. The all in one, one and all. He is in everything, and all these things were set up for a reason, for a different type of understanding. The reverse of the word Mars is rams. Wow, I never knew that. See? The reverse of the word Mars is rams. Rams have human, Baphomet, Mars, war, extraterrestrial. And the inversion of the word Mars is wars. Star Wars, Mars Wars. A symbol of blood called the Red Planet, also called Al-Marif. The long arrow, symbol of war, other names for it is Al-Qanas and Bahram. Mars data distance from the sun is 142. Wow, 142 million miles. You see this number 142 always pop up. You got the 42 characters that make the Anabacoash prayer. 42 is key, you know. You got 144,000 elect. You got but just watch these numbers, you know. I got a whole investigation board on numbers and the patterns, what I see with them as well too. You know, I only could do a little bit of videos at a time, but diameter 40,022 miles. The time Mars takes to orbit the sun, 680 days. The time Mars spends on its axis, 24 hours, 37 minutes, and 3 seconds. Its tilts on an axis of 25.2 degrees. Mars shines in the skies with a reddish color, and it is sometimes called the red planet. The orbit of Mars is more oval than that of the Earth. Mars' thin atmosphere is made up of almost entirely of carbon dioxide. Temperatures at the planet's equators may occasionally reach 60 degrees Fahrenheit. However, during the shadow hours, temperatures can drop to nearly minus 202 degrees Fahrenheit. Tons and tons of rocket fuel could be synthesized out of Mars's air, making traveling to and from Mars even easier than trips to the moon. The Martian soil also contains abundance of gypsum, which can be baked by adding some Martian water and iron-rich dust on Earth. This is cement. See, you put elements together. That's what creates magic. It's not really magic, it's just natural science. Once you know the natural science, you know, things work in your favor better. So that's why some people say, I got to perform this ritual. Or some people, they always try to put a bad name on everything that's good. So that's why you have to look in things in reverse. Because when you start to study these things, you'll know why. Because it's a threat to them. Because anything that can help you be self-sufficient against their oppression and their hoarding of all minerals and natural resources is a threat to them, because you know why? You can teach other people, and they lose their grip and their stronghold, and the money is not the same for them, just like with the pharmaceutical industry. Alright, it has two moons, one called Phobos, 19 miles at its widest point, and it circles its planet at a distance of 2,462 miles. Phobos completes its orbit in about 7.5 hours, which is less time than it takes Mars to turn once on its axis. The other, Deimos, is 12 miles. Basically, I believe that means dimensions. Is 12 miles, and once you see these words, all you gotta do is connect them to a word that sounds similar and what makes sense to fill in the blank. That's how I figure a lot of stuff out, you know. It is 12 miles at its widest point. It circles Mars at a distance of 14,700 miles. Both Phobos and Deimos were born by meteorites captured as asteroids in its orbit. Here you will find prototypes of Homo sapiens. Thus, the word Parthenogenic, which explains that this site where there are pyramids and ruins of temples of the Anunnaki were used for the cloning of Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, called the ADMA Project. This is where the face of Cadmon can be found. Wow, that's why they always say it's a face on Mars. This is where you can see the face of Cadmon can be found. And go look at those videos on the face on Mars and watch how they tell you, they write it off and make it seem like it's all this, and that. But look what this just said. Come on now. So I mean, they're fully aware of it, but when you're dealing with NASA and stuff like that, there's always a deception. That's just about with everything. They always give you a front story so you don't question it any further. You know? These people are going down. I mean, they're going all the way down, because everything they try to hide is coming to the surface, because the elect is in full effect at this point. And that's not even just to talk highly of myself. This is where you find the Cadmon can be found. Let's read that again. 54. Thus the word Parthenogenic, which explains that this site where there are pyramids and ruins of temples of the Anunnaki. So it's telling you these pyramids are ruins and temples of the Anunnaki, which are the Elohim, which we know as the Elohim. So this is more than one being. That's why it says in the beginning, Elohim said, let us, as a collective whole group, create them in our image. Is it making any sense to y'all now? I know, I try to say it in a way so people can understand it, but some people are so simple-minded. You know, they're not, but they want knowledge. They'll listen here and there, but they're not to the point where it's they're going through every source to get the answers and the real truth. But there's ones like me who are, And I know I'm not going to get everybody on one accord, but I know I'm going to grab some people's attention. And that's going to plant the seed, and that's going to spark their curiosity. And this is how the spiritual connection grows. I'm fully aware of that. This is where it says, there are pyramids and ruins of temples of the Anunnaki, which are the Elohim. Let us create them in our image. In the book of Genesis, which is the generation of Isis, were used for the cloning of Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, called the ADMA project. Atom, the atoms and protons that create your body in the ethereal spirit and soul of consciousness. When you take that breath of life, the breath of life and the last breath of life, and going back to the etheric, which is known as the Akasha record. Hallelujah. This is where the face of Kadmon can be found. And it's another brother on YouTube, which is called, his name is Brother Main, and he talks a lot about the ADMA project and Kadmon. But this says this is where the face of Kadmon can be found. Today the site is called Sidionia or Sidonia, from Sidon, the first son of Canaan, father of the albinos, the cursed seed of Ham. Sidon is the means, the fortress, and is fortified. His wife was Gina, with two N's, Ginna. This is why today astronomers are interested in the planet Mars. So it's starting to make sense. So watch out for the deception that they're going to try to hit you with. But the time is up for everybody at this point. It's no way around it, because these truths like this is going to keep coming, And all those people that try to keep us oppressed, this is where you get into the incantation wars. For no weapon formed against you to be prosper, you have to know how the workers of iniquity work. And the highest heights of wisdom is knowing how natural magneticism and the elements of nature work, which are incantations, by standing on the truth that you know and speaking into existence, which will be words which create a spell. And this is how you get these people out the way faster. You use the intellect of righteousness, because you have to do it in a righteous manner. But you got to understand how this iniquity is set up and being worked in order for you to speak that into existence. That's your power. This is what they never want you to know. But this is what I'm learning. This is why today astronomers are interested in the planet Mars, because they have discovered that life existed there before, and that there is a possibility that they might be able to bring human life to that planet again with its Martian atmosphere. This is that Elon Musk. That's why, it's coincidental. Remember I told you about 20... that's done with that. But remember I told y'all about 2017, and 3 events happened. The whole eclipse that happened in August 2017, Revelation 12 constellation 2017, Space Rock Oumuamua, which is an angelic biosatellite that popped up in October 2017. Remember I told you that there is another eclipse that's coming 7 years after fact, which creates X over Mystery Babylon, known as America, also known as the Amorites, the Indo-European people that came here, to the 4th part that talks about in the book of Revelation, he that sat up upon the pale horse was death, and how he used the beast of the field to do all these things. So that's talking about them. See, when you study till you show yourself approved, you can narrow this down to the T. It's common sense, And 2024, Elon Musk said that he is trying to have a space hotel by 2024 or some type of way that they get back and forth to Mars by 2024. Why 2024? We know it's 24 elders in the Bible. We know it's 24 hours in the day. 12 and 12 make 24. 12 sons of Ishmael, 12 sons of Israel, and we know that they are all under the Moabian order, means the Shemites, which are, Negroid woolly hair people, which we read in the Holy Tablets as well. And I'm telling you, this is not a coincidence. Everything we just read about Mars, and so on and so on. It's going to get deeper and deeper. But I'm about to get out of here. Kodash, 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 Adonai, Elohim, Sabayah, meaning holy, 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 Lord of hosts, Yah-Heh, masculine, feminine, as a collective whole, creating the Tetragrammaton. In the beginning, which is Genesis, which is Bereshith in Hebrew, Genesis meaning generation of Isis. Elohim said, let us create them in our image. Key word is us. So when you read stories like this, you don't get it confused. Us in our image. As above, so below. The inverted triangle. As above, so below. The macro prosophis above, the micro prosophis below, the microorganisms with the atoms and protons in our body. The protons, that energy comes from the photon energy of the soul, which is the sun, the soul of the system. Hallelujah. Come on, man. Stop playing with me. Like, comment, subscribe. Please. My Facebook name is Chosen Seed. CHOSEN. Space SEED. Chosen Seed. I got a lot of other videos on there as well, and I got these videos on here. None of them are the same, but it's a lot of meat and bones. Get you a notepad, a pen, and just go look at the consistency and patterns, and see if it resonates with your soul or your spirit. It's that time. Hallelujah. Salah.